Greetings, Vengers. This is Lauren, your Guild Advisor, back at it with some more DanMemo news that came from the Japanese livestream that happened earlier today on February 11th concerning Part 2 of the Goblin Slayer and DanMemo collaboration. We had the announcement that it would be 2 parts way back when, but now we know what the new units are going to be during this Part 2 of the event. Before I thought that we might get 4 new characters, because in previous events where we've had 2 parts like Argonaut and Last Christmas, we've had 4 units come out with part 2, but it looks like we're only getting 3 this time. And that new RYU was actually something that was leaked the day of the release of the part 1 of the collab, because it was accidentally put up on the news webpage for the actual app itself, but they quickly put that down. But we knew that we got a new RYU, and of course that makes me really happy because she is my favorite character. And I kind of called it because I said I hoped that RYU was a collab character, and if she was one, that she'd be wearing the High Elf Archer clothes, and that's exactly what's going on here. And Sword Maiden was an obvious one because she's in the actual title art for the collab. And if you actually read through the story, it's kind of obvious that since Amid is a part of the story, that she'd probably be getting the Sword Maiden outfit, and she actually looks really good in the art, which I'll display later on here in the video. But I've been enjoying the event so far, story-wise. It's definitely cut short because it's a 2-part event, so I'm excited to read the next part of it. So far, I like the Data Light collab story more, but that's just simply because the scale of it is so much larger. Like, it's Orario is doomed if this thing doesn't get solved, and whereas here it's a much smaller scale type of situation, but it's still enjoyable seeing the interactions between the characters. But anyway, first of all, I would like to thank GailRiot6212 and also Sarah2788 from Discord for all the news and translations in this video. But let's go ahead and break down the new characters. First up is Priestess Image Amid, and I don't know why they translated her name as Priestess Image, because obviously Priestess is a character in Goblin Slayer, and she's not wearing the Priestess clothing, she's wearing Sword Maiden's clothing. Now I understand that Amid is a healer in DanMachi, and she's called a Priestess because that's the closest thing to a healer in Goblin Slayer terms, but it's just weird seeing her name as Priestess Image. I think Priestess Maiden might be even better than that, just to obviously link it to the Sword Maiden clothing she's wearing. And again, her art is very good. She looks better in this than she does in the swimsuit, and that's not to say that her swimsuit art doesn't look good. It's just that for some reason the Sword Maiden clothing on Amid is more suggestive. For some reason, I don't know. But anyway, she's going to be a healing type character with a max magic stat of 1540, a max armor break, max hero ascension. And as for her skills, her special arts is an ultra HP heal, and also increases the special arts gauge charge gain of all your allies by 33%, and it will increase her own gauge charge gain by 100% for 3 turns. So you'll get a big heal, and you'll also have your special arts gauge charge go up a lot faster, so you'll be able to use special arts even faster. I'm just wondering, like, if this were like Record Buster, you wouldn't really use this move, because normally you'd use someone like Haruhime's special to heal and then give yourself a huge strength or magic buff, or you would just use a straight up damaging move because your goal in Record Buster is to do a ton of damage to increase your score. Obviously these Goblin Slayer units will be useful for the upcoming Familias Royale event, but I'm wondering just how useful using the special arts is going to be as opposed to other ones. And that's for regular combat skills. Her first skill is a fast 20% HP heal that also gives a 20% HP regen, strength buff, magic buff, and dark attack damage buff of 25% for 3 whole turns. So a lot of buffs and also a heal happening on that first skill. And then on the second skill, it's an AoE slow high dark magic attack with a high encounter rate and penetration rate, and will also remove any strength and magic debuffs from your own characters, excluding assist skills. So if you were to use Amid in like war games, or maybe even a boss situation where the encounter lowers your strength and magic, or you know the turn that's going to be used, because this is a slow attack, if you know the turn beforehand, you'll be able to use this move on that turn. That debuff happens, and then Amid will remove it at the end of the turn, and then all your units will be back to normal at the beginning of the next turn. And for her third skill, it's a single target mid-dark magic attack with a temporary magic boost and a high unguard rate, and will also remove any curses from your allies. So it doesn't hit too hard, but its main purpose is to remove any curses from your allies, and again, very situational. I'm assuming that the next Familia event will have curses being used on your characters, so should be useful to have in that case. And for her notable passives, anytime she counters, she will also remove any strength buffs on the enemy she counters. So Amid is a pretty interesting healer. I'm wondering just how useful that special arts is going to be, but of course she'll be useful for the upcoming Familias Royale. And next up is my favorite character, my girl, Elven Gale RYU. And of course, again, she's wearing that high Elven Archer outfit, and she'll be a magic attacker. And the one notable thing to look at here is her agility stats at max year ascension maximum break of 965, being just 2 points higher than the Unbreakable Heart Lily, and I'll explain why that is when we look at her skills. Her special arts is an AoE Ultra Dark Magic attack that will increase in damage by 50% for each agility buff on her, and also has an Ultra Unguard rate, so make sure she has 2 agility buffs, one from her own skills, and then the one assist like Take Mikazuchi, Outsider RYU Eyes, or the Sacred Fire Hestia. And for her combat skills, her first skill is an AoE fast, magic agility, and magic resistance debuff of 25% to all of your enemies, and she will also buff her own magic agility and magic resistance by 50% for 4 turns. So this is the skill I'm talking about when I compare her to the Lily I was mentioning earlier. That Lily gives a lot of problems in stuff like war games because that first skill of hers, like RYU, is not an attack, it's simply a buff and debuff, so it has a higher priority when it comes to when moves go first, because it's not an attack, it's just simply a buff and debuff. So because RYU is 2 points higher than Lily there, RYU in theory would go before Lily in most cases, except the way the game works, it doesn't actually base it off like the raw number count for agility. It's like the game divides stuff into like tiers, like if your agility is within this range and 2 different characters happen to meet that range, it will actually do a coin flip as opposed to like, oh, this is 2 points higher, this character will go first. But in most cases, RYU should be going first if you go against a comparable Lily when they have all the agility stuff possible on them. But because it is an agility debuff to your opponent, RYU gets that skill off first, puts on the agility debuff, and then most of your characters should be going before your opponents because that agility debuff is placed on them. And for her second skill, it's a AoE super dark magic attack with a temporary magic boost and high penetration rate, and will also increase her dark attack damage by 50% for 3 turns. So she has a double buff between the dark attack damage and the magic buff on her first skill, but they're divided between 2 things. So to get her max amount of damage potential, you need to be using both those skills. And on the third skill, it's a single target high dark magic attack that will increase in damage by 40% for each agility buff on her, and also has a high critical rate. So in a single target situation, you want to be using the first and second skill to get all her buffs up, and then be able to take advantage of her third skill and deal a lot of damage when it comes to single target situations. But I think because of that, RYU is going to be useful for both AoE and single targets, so I'm really excited to roll for her, even though my teams are usually physical based, but I'll make it work. It's been a while since I've had a RYU I could actually use competitively, so I'm very excited for this. And then for her passive, it's just like Amid except for magic buffs on the opponents on counters instead of strength. I really hope I can make her work with my team because, man, I'm just really excited to get a RYU that I can actually use competitively. And then of course our last character, Hero of 6 Sword Maiden, will be an assist. Unfortunately, it would have been really cool to see her as an adventurer, seeing the Sword Maiden actually fight, but it just makes sense for her to be an assist because she's a lot more of a character that does stuff in the background in Goblin Slayer, though I have heard she's been in some action before, not in the past obviously, but I think my friend who actually reads Goblin Slayer said that she will actually take up the sword and be in combat. So maybe someday I'll actually pick up the light novels and go ahead and read more about her, because Sword Maiden is one of those interesting characters in the series. But as far as DanMemo goes, she has pretty balanced stats when it comes to both strength and magic, so you'll be able to attach her to a physical, or pretty much any character. And her high stat of 503 max limit break is for dexterity, and that modifies like critical rates and penetration rates, so you'll be able to get more of those if you have her equipped. And as for her assist skill at +5, it will debuff the enemy's strength, magic, and dark resistance by 15%, and buff your allies' thunder attack damage by 15%. It's just a strange skill. It's not strange that there's two different elements, because we've had that before, except they just combined them. Like, for example, it would be like strength, magic, dark, and thunder resistance debuff of 15%. So it's weird that they just kind of said no debuff. Thunder is a buff, and then dark is a debuff. So very interesting that they divided up that way. But of course, the characters from the collaboration are all dark characters or thunder characters. So obviously Sword Maiden is designed to mix with them. And then for newer players that lack assists that debuff enemy strength and magic, she's an all-arounder, so she'd be useful to have in that regard as well. And this event and these banners will go live tomorrow night on the 12th. So look forward to that. And this is the new banner layout. Of course, the new 3 characters, Amid, RYU, and Sword Maiden. So basically the 3rd banner of the gacha. We're not getting 2 banners like we did in previous part 2 events. We're just getting one with 3 characters, which is somewhat unfortunate for me, because RYU was leaked ahead of time. I was really hoping for 4 characters, because it would just be 2 characters per banner, and it'll be a lot easier to maximum break RYU. Because I'm only dealing with a 50% chance of her being on the guarantees, as opposed to a 33% chance. So I'm going to cross my fingers and hope for the best here. And of course, we'll be getting Heroic Trial for these new characters, so we'll be able to grind up for a bond of your choice between Amid, RYU, and Sword Maiden. So look forward to that. Also launching tomorrow night on the 12th. And we also got some more information about the true Familias Royale that will be happening next week. They said they'll give most of the information in next week's stream, but we did get a little tiny bit of info for this week. But basically, it's going to work very similarly to how Familias Royale has worked in the past before it was replaced by Familia Rush. Basically, you'll be trying to get a high score when it comes to a battle you select on the screen. Your high score is calculated from your highest damage dealt with an attack, the total damage done in battle, and how quickly you defeat the enemy or enemies in that specific stage. I'm sorry these images are in Japanese, but the English Facebook and Twitter account didn't provide an actual translation slide for this, and I didn't feel like making it myself. But anyway, the stages will unlock over time. The Royale takes place between the 19th and the 25th, if I converted to Pacific Standard Time correctly from the Japanese. The first stage will open with a normal, hard, and very hard mode on the 19th when Familias Royale starts, and the second stage will open on the 21st. With those same difficulties, and the last stage will open on the 23rd, with again those normal, hard, and very hard difficulties. And of course, the higher the difficulty, the more points you'll get as well, so be prepared for that. Now, the one very nice thing about the Familias Royale as opposed to Familia Rush, like in Familia Rush, you only get up to 4 tries every day to get your scores in, and the way Familias Royale works is that you have a unlimited number of tries as long as you have the stamina to pay for it. You have an unlimited number of tries to get the highest score possible per day. So every day it will take your highest score and then add that to the Familia total. So it's very friendly in regards to not being limited to 4 tries. Like maybe one of those 4 tries you get really bad RNG and you feel really bad for your Familia because like, man, that really stinks. But now you can just try as many times as you want until you're satisfied for that day's score, and then move on to the next day. And again, I'll be getting more information about this next week. We also put in a reminder for the Join a Familia campaign, so if you're not in a Familia and you do end up joining one with more than 4 members before the next Familia event starts, you will get an 11 draw ticket, so that's nice if you're not in a Familia already. And then the next Record Buster will be a water type Riveria, and that will also go live with the part 2 update tomorrow night. So be prepared for that. And then we're also getting what's called the once a day Valentine quest. Now we're still unsure if they're gonna do like a Valentine rerun, because we're gonna hit Valentine's Day on the 14th in the middle of the Goblin Slayer collab event, so I'm not sure if they're just skipping Valentine's, doing a rerun, or maybe we're doing something with White Day and we're getting White Day male characters. That'd be a cool change for once. But anyway, this is the Valentine once a day quest. This will go live on the 13th, so on Thursday, and you'll get a quest once a day to receive chocolates. And the way these chocolates work is that you'll get at least 3 chocolates when you complete a quest, and if you do these every day, these chocolates are actually character specific, and you should be able to view a character specific Valentine scene for each character whose chocolate you've gotten. So be prepared for that. They were really fun last year to watch through, so if you have a favorite character, there's I believe only 37 of these, so not every single character has a Valentine thing, but they're all voice acted, so hopefully one of your favorite characters has a scene. And also these chocolates provide 120 stamina, but I got all the chocolates last year and I made sure not to use a single one, because why would you just get rid of those chocolates? You want to preserve them forever. It's a digital game after all. And also for the 1-year anniversary of the Japanese theatrical release of the DanMachi movie, Heir of the Orion, they'll be giving out a free 11 draw ticket. Now, they did not give a specific date, but the movie aired last year on the 15th in Japan, so one would assume that it would go live on the 14th when it comes to Pacific Standard Time, because it's the 15th in Japan come app update time in the United States. And there will also be new paid Part 2 bundles on sale at the stores, so if you want to spend some money on a gacha game, there's your opportunity. If maybe you're not getting too much luck with the collab characters, but be very careful when you spend your money on stuff like this, guys. And just an overview of the upcoming schedule. Remember, this is in Japan Standard Time, so to track the day, you'll get what it is for the United States. So on the 12th, tomorrow night, will be part 2 of the collab event, and then the paid bundles should be coming out, as well as the new gacha, of course, and the new heroic trial, and the Water Riveria record buster will also start. And then on the 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, will be the start of the new once a day Valentine quest, where you can get chocolates and then view special Valentine scenes with the characters of DanMachi. So hope you guys are looking forward to part 2 of the collab event. I hope your roles are blessed. I really hope I get a lot of RYU, because it'll be really depressing if I get one, or heaven forbid none. But I hope my luck is in my favor, because I've been waiting quite a while for a RYU that I can actually use competitively. So hopefully RYU blesses me this time. But I hope you found this video informative, and if you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more DanMachi content. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter and join my Discord, and as always, continue enjoying your time adventuring in RYU and the dungeon. This is Lauren, your guild advisor, signing out.